Hi there, students. A baker's dozen. Okay, a baker is the person who makes bread, and a dozen is 12. But a baker's dozen is actually 13. And a long dozen, a devil's dozen as well. More than a standard dozen, but a group of 13 objects, a baker's dozen. Let's see, the origin of this, they say it comes from a law where bakers were heavily punished, I think even perhaps executed, for selling short weight. There was a law from the English Parliament in 1266 which specified exactly how much a loaf of bread should weigh. And there was, the baker would be punished if it wasn't. And this is, they say, the origin of this. So instead of giving a customer 12 little loaves of bread, they would give them 13 to make sure that there was full measure. And it's 13 instead of 12. So like this, the baker was certain that the bread that he has sold was of sufficient weight. I've heard another theory that people who bought bread wholesale as a dealer, you had the right to a 13th. When you bought 12, you could have 13 for the price of 12, and this 13th was the middleman or the dealer's profit. So if you go to the bagel shop, they will give you a baker's dozen for the price of 12. Okay, so the guy at the bakery is really nice, and he'll often give you a baker's dozen of little cakes. He'll give you one extra. I've actually also heard of the phrase a Texas dozen, which is supposed to be 15, but I don't think that's very common. Okay, so a baker's dozen, it's perhaps a little bit old-fashioned, but it's a good Trivial Pursuit question. A baker's dozen is 13. The voters had to consider a baker's dozen of different ballot measures in the vote. There were a baker's dozen of cars in the car park. There were a baker's dozen of different candidates standing for election. Okay, so from the baker's practice of giving 13 rolls instead of 12 to avoid any accusation of lightweight, to avoid being accused of doing people down. Okay, so it's a group of 13, a dozen plus one. Yeah. And a way to avoid being accused of giving short measure. So they sell cakes by the baker's dozen. Inside, I unwrapped my cakes to discover that I had a baker's dozen, 13 instead of 12. Okay, so the advertisement said they will give you a baker's dozen for the price of 12. The grocer who she'd bought the apples from gave her a baker's dozen of apples. Although I'd only ordered 12, the shopkeeper gave us a baker's dozen. Yeah, so to my great surprise, there were a baker's dozen inside the packet. Okay, so just a group of 13 objects, but very often to do with cakes or rolls or things like that. And as I said, the origin from bakers not wanting to give short weight. So formality, a baker's dozen. I think I'm going to give it a 4.5 in formality. Don't use it in something very formal, but use it anywhere else. So, a baker's dozen. Bye for now.